When done well, there is nothing better than a top-tier fight scene in a movie. That's why in this video, we're going to be taking a look at 15 or so fight scenes from famous movies and take a look at hidden details that you might have missed the first time around that make this scene even better. Let's dive right in. How can we make this video and not mention John Wick at all? It's no secret that Keanu Reeves went into beast mode while filming the series, performing the stunts himself, going through strenuous boot camps, and trying to make everything as realistic as possible. But the production team were just as meticulous, and there are a number of small details during their fight scenes that support this. Take for example the nightclub scene in the first John Wick movie, where John is using a Heckler & Koch P30L, which has a 15-round magazine. If you watch carefully, you will notice that John reloads every 15 shots during the scene, just like he would in real life. For the sequel, John uses a Kimber 1911 during the museum scene, which were known to be fairly unreliable guns. So, to prepare for the movie, Reeves was shown how to load one up accurately. That's why John performs a press check immediately after loading the magazine to make sure a round is in the chamber, so he isn't left embarrassed. Also, in John Wick 3, if you look closely before the library fight scene, you will notice Boban Marjanovic's character Ernest sitting there reading before his big fight with John. Probably the sickest burn in the MCU is the moment Thanos tells Thor,
"You should have gone for the head,"
before snapping half the universe away. This is a moment that emotionally scars Thor, and the guilt he feels is seen throughout Avengers Endgame, and is the reason he goes off the rails a little bit, a tiny little, a smidge. But when he does get the chance to go head-to-head with Thanos once again, if you look closely, you will notice Thor follows his advice and instantly goes for Thanos' head with Stormbreaker during the opening attack. Wow, that was one of the sickest burns in the MCU. One of the best and most meme-worthy fight scenes comes in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, where Cap is ambushed and surrounded in the elevator. It's a great claustrophobic fight, and one where it seems that Steve doesn't have the upper hand, but Cap was more aware of the situation than we first thought as. If you look closely, you will notice Cap surveying the elevator beforehand and looking for any way he could gain the advantage. Daniel Craig's iteration of Bond is by far the most physical out of all the actors to play 007, and he has a big, muscular, brawler presence not seen before. He was also a lot grittier, and there were many instances where he would use the location or anything on hand to win a fight, such as the moment in Casino Royale where he uses his Omega watch as brass knuckles during the Venice fight scene. It's so quickly done that it is easy to miss, but when slowed down, it's pretty good product placement for Omega, as it shows just how durable their watches are. While on the subject of Casino Royale, a quick piece of trivia for you. Craig reportedly lost his front teeth while filming the fight scene in Prague and had to have his dentist fly in from London to replace them. Another British spy movie to have hidden details in the fight scenes is the Kingsman series. In Secret Service, during the final action sequence, Eggsy checks the ammo in his gun in a subtle callback to an earlier scene, while 80% of Colin Firth's stunts were actually performed by the actor himself, and every fight scene in the movie is centrally framed to draw the viewer's focus to the fight itself. For the sequel, after Charlie rips his robot right arm off, Eggsy decides to make it a fair fight by putting his dominant arm behind his back, while Agent Whiskey hits all of the circles on the uniforms of the bad guys, using them as his targets. Who doesn't love a good hidden joke? The people behind The Matrix certainly do, as if you look carefully in the background during the brawl scene in Reloaded, you will see a sign that says "No Brawling," which I can only hope is a reference to the "Gentlemen, you can't fight in here, this is the war room" gag from Dr. Strangelove. One of the best fight scenes to take place in Raiders of the Lost Ark is the fight scene between Indy and the burly German mechanic as they fight beside a moving plane. That part was played by British wrestler Pat Roach, but this wasn't Roach's only appearance in the movie, with him also playing the giant Sherpa in Marion Ravenwood's Nepalese bar. Quentin Tarantino is a director who likes to put, let's say, subtle references in his work, and an example of this is the moment the bride keeps the 88 Slims like Pai Mei in Kill Bill. During Volume 1, the bride tells the crazy 88 to leave behind their limbs, which is of course a direct reference to her first sparring session with Pai Mei, who refused to let go of her arm and ended up claiming the very same ownership. The Deadpool movies are well known for their fourth wall breaks and meta humor, and this often trickles into the fight scenes in the movies. One of the best moments of this is in Deadpool 2, when Wade is being hunted by Cable and uses the blood splatter that hits the camera to tell exactly where the shot came from. For anyone who watched the Netflix movie Project Power, you will know that the people who take the power pill will gain superpowers for 5 minutes, with each power deriving from specific animals. Take Jamie Foxx's Art, for example, who takes his power from the pistol shrimp, which moves so fast that it could actually vaporize the water around it, and has one claw bigger than the other. Now, Art's link to the pistol shrimp isn't revealed till later on, but there is a subtle hint to it in the moment he holds his hands behind his back, showing that one of his hands is badly burnt and damaged, meaning that he too has asymmetrical limbs, just like the pistol shrimp. Ridley Scott's Gladiator might be one of the best historical epics of all time, but it wasn't afraid to play fast and loose with the actual history. Take for example the opening battle where the barbarians use a very familiar chant. In fact, the chant is exactly the same chant used by the Zulu warriors in the 1966 movie Zulu. This next one isn't necessarily a hidden detail, but we just wanted to give the hallway fight scene in Oldboy some more love, as it's one of the greatest fight scenes of all time. The scene took 3 days to shoot and was done in a one-take style, although there were actually many shots stitched together, but almost no CGI was used except for the moment Odesu gets stabbed in the back. As we said though, that wasn't a hidden detail so much, so we'll give you one free. The name Odesu is meant to be reminiscent of the ancient Greek character Oedipus, and if you are familiar with both, you will understand why that's the case. Now, in my opinion, the Raid movies are some of the best action movies not only of the 21st century, but of all time. So it's probably unsurprising that there are hidden details in the intricate fight scenes. In the first movie, the reason the characters get thrown around so much is because of director Gareth Evans' love of the WWE, and was meant to be an ode to that. Meanwhile, the torture room scene in The Raid is inspired by the 2-on-1 fight scene in Jackie Chan's Dragon Lord, and the Mad Dog vs. Jaka fight took about 30 or 40 takes. For Raid 2, all of the punches and kicks actually do land, with the actors having to adjust their powers so they don't hurt the other actors. A nice little touch that was added during the amazing kitchen fight is the shot of the assassin's hands, which show that his left hand is all cut up, while his right hand is fine. Another piece of nice continuity comes in the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. If you look closely at Shu Lian's weapons, you will notice that they actually take accurate damage from when they hit Green Destiny. But probably one of the best fight scenes in a comedy has to be the brawl in the cult classic Anchorman. What makes this scene funnier is that if you look closely at Ron Burgundy's weapon, his bedpost, there are a number of notches in it, which could be a body count, or you know, another kind of count. Oh yeah, before we go, we just wanted to mention the brilliant hallway fight scene in Atomic Blonde, which runs for nearly 10 minutes. While looking like one long take, it's actually made up of 40 different shots, and was only possible because of Charlize Theron's extensive training.